All right, welcome to Alexploring. This is Alex here in East Franklin County doing some Ohio historical markers today. And we are at our very first one, so let's get started. All right, so here's our first one. Here right off of Nelson Road. This is Hanford Village. This is number 11025. Although the highway divides us, our memories are never lost. Hanford Village was founded in the early 1900s, just east of the Columbus proper, with its own mayor, police force, fire department, businesses, and park. After World War II, a subdivision of Hanford became a segregated community for returning African American veterans to settle using the GI Bill. Hanford then became one of the few places involved in all of the African American post-war housing development program in the United States. During the 1960s, President Dwight D. Eisenhower's Federal Interstate Highway System Act resulted in construction of Interstate 70, which split Hanford Village into two sections and tore apart the community. However, since the division, the residents of the village have worked to maintain a sense of community and unity. This was placed here in 2009 by the Centennial High School AP US History class in 2008-2009. All right, headed to our next one. Let's make sure there's not one on the other side. Same on the other side. So let's get going to our next one in Bexley. All right, we are here at our next one, the Drexel Theater in Bexley. This is marker number 12425, placed here in 2017, the Drexel Theater. The Drexel Theater is a significant example of the once ubiquitous small neighborhood theaters that appeared in the 1930s, a time when movies were an inexpensive and popular form of entertainment. Designed by architect Robert R. Royce, the theater was built in 1937 in a combination of Art Deco and Art Modern styles. The P.F. Yoger Sign Company designed the iconic marquee. The Drexel opened on Christmas Day 1937, showing the movie 1 Mile from Heaven, and has been continuously operation ever since. In 2009, with the theater falling on hard times, Friends of Drexel and the Columbus Association for the Performing Arts came together to save and restore this artistic jewel for future generations to cherish. The Drexel Theater was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 2015. So they got Naked Gun, Lego Movie, The Conversation, Weapons, all playing here in historic Bexley. See, this is where the old ticket booth was, right next to the Market District. It's a really nice day, so I really wanted to be able to walk and do a little bit of outdoor stuff, get myself out of the house and, enjoy the summer while it is here in Columbus. All right, this is an Ohio historical marker, but it's from the Capitol University, right outside of Battelle Hall here. This is a historical marker, and we'll cover it. Capitol University, transforming lives through higher education. Founded in 1830 as a Lutheran seminary and chartered as a university in 1850, Capitol University offers diverse undergraduate and graduate programs in the arts, sciences, and professional studies. Ethical, moral, and religious values essential to leadership in society are an integral part of the Capitol experience. This is a nice little bonus. Same on both sides, but just a block from the Ohio historical markers. Let's get going. All right, so we are here coming up on the next one. This is going to be historical marker number 5825. It is right next to this parking lot at Cassidy and Main Street. This one is all about the National Road. I believe there's one on the other side as well. The National Road. To George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and others, a road to the Ohio country was essential for the United States development. An overland route was the way west for settlers and goods, as well as the means to transport settlers' produce to eastern markets. Construction of the National Road began at Cumberland, Maryland in 1811, reaching Wheeling, Virginia, now West Virginia, in 1818, and entered Columbus at Main Street in 1833. The road turned north on High Street and continued west on Broad Street. Crossing Ohio and Indiana, the road continued into Illinois. The last section of the road, from the Indiana border to Vandalia, Illinois, opened in 1839. An original milestone at Christ Lutheran Church in Bexley indicates the distance from Cumberland and to other points east and west. And we can see here, right up against the historical marker, is a map of the National Road. So it's you from the little bit of the edge of Maryland, Cumberland, which is kind of like where West Virginia meets Virginia meets Maryland, all the way to basically St. Louis. And then the other side here is about the Interurban Electric Railway. In the early 1900s, Ohio led the nation in interurban track mileage. The electrically powered interurban was favored over steam railroads for short distance passenger travel and the transport of local freight. Incorporated in 1899, the Columbus, Buckeye Lake, and Newark Traction Railway served Bexley from a terminal on Gay Street in downtown Columbus. Running south on High Street and then east on Mount Street, the line crossed Alum Creek into Bexley, went north up Pleasant Ridge Avenue past Capitol University, and continued to the National Road, Main Street. Interurban cars stopped at the northeast corner of Main Street and Remington Road, and then sped on to Buckeye Lake, Newark, and later Zanesville. The popularity of the automobile spelled doom for the interurban. Service on the line ended in 1929. Let's go walk to that church, Christ Lutheran, to see that mile marker from the National Road. Just across the street, over near we parked. All right, so here it is. Still here. You can see hardly, but you can see on the top Cumberland 254. Let's go around. Then we have Wheeling 124, Zanesville 50. So it's this historic mile marker from the National Road here in Bexley. All right, let's move on to our next historical marker here in our East Franklin County tour. All right, we are now here off of Sunbury Road for our next Ohio historical marker here at the home studio and artist residence of Aminah Brenda Lynn Robinson. Beautiful art displays here in the yard. Aminah Brenda Lynn Robinson and her son Sidney moved into this home in 1974. The artist, a visual historian, lived and worked here in the Shepherd community until her passing. Raised in Columbus, Poindexter Village, and educated in the local public schools, Robinson also studied at Columbus College of Art and Design and The Ohio State University. Her art reflected stories handed down from her elders, experience within her community, and the local history she researched while working at the Columbus Metropolitan Library. She received a 2004 MacArthur Award for her celebration of family ancestry and the grandeur of simple objects in drawings, paintings, and large-scale mixed media assemblages. Robinson taught art for Columbus Recreation and Parks 19 years before becoming a full-time working artist in 1991. As she traveled the world and grew to national acclaim, this home became her muse. Every room was dedicated to her research, writing, and art making. Drawings, watercolors, button-beaded books and dolls, illustrated text and journals, and monumental tapestries, and sculptures using traditional found and handmade materials. Today, her profound and elegant works are in numerous public and private collections. When Robinson died, she entrusted her estate to the Columbus Museum of Art. The home studio was renovated to preserve her indomitable spirit, her endearment for community, and as an inspiration for resident artists. This was placed here in 2021. This is historical marker number 12825, honoring Aminah Brenda Lynn Robinson. You can see just a few of her art installations here, including just this random face, some wagon wheels, and these bottles. The door is very decorated in paint as well. This is really cool here, just not far from the airport on Sunbury Road. All right, we are at our next Ohio historical marker here, number 11825, the Eastmoor Polo Field. This polo field was the centerpiece of an equestrian community developed by Charles Johnson in the early 1920s. The Eastmoor Polo Club played on this field until the facilities were destroyed by fire. The fire, plus the rapid growth of Eastmoor's residential community, caused the club to be relocated to the Rocky Fork Hunt Club, established in 1925, exclusively for the Eastmoor Polo Club. The Eastmoor Polo Field, commonly known as Virginia Lee Circle, was named for Virginia Smith and Lee Huntington as a wedding gift from Charles Johnson. The mounted polo player on granite stones at Eastmoor's entrances is a replica of the mounted polo player on the original sign. All right. Some guys just got here to mow a yard here, so we're going to get a photo here and then head to our next one in Gehenna. It's like we got a backside of this sign, a brief history of Eastmoor. In 1798, Articles of the Confederation Congress provided land to British Canadians who lost property because of loyalty to American revolutionaries during the American War of Independence in 1775 to 1783. This land was part of the refugee tract and the present-day Truro Township. In 1850, Henry Stanberry, first Attorney General of Ohio, purchased a portion of this land. In 1923, Charles Johnson bought a section of this land and had it platted as the Eastmoor Addition by the Jennings Lawrence Company, with the polo field at the center. Eastmoor has houses ranging in age from the 1920s to the early 21st century, including Lustron homes built after World War II. So you can see some of the homes here. Very beautiful. A great day to go see some historical markers. Let's head to the next one now in Gehenna, and we'll be there shortly. All right, we are in Gahanna now at Friendship Park, tucked in here um, for our next Ohio historical marker, number 13125, the Big Walnut Country Club. This is put here in 2021. Established during the Great Migration and intense segregation in Columbus, the Big Walnut Country Club was one of the first black country clubs in the United States. Conceived in 1925 and incorporated 2 years later, the club encouraged and promoted aquatic and athletic sports by providing the means and facilities otherwise not available to the black community. Members enjoyed golf, swimming, archery, tennis, badminton, boating, dining, and dancing on the nearly 20 acres of land between the Big Walnut and Rocky Fork Creeks. The club was a social, professional, and political hub for Central Ohio's growing black population in the decades leading to the Civil Rights Movement. The BWCC closed in 1963. Gahanna purchased the land in 1970 and opened its first public park, Friendship Park, the following year. See, we got tennis courts over there. On this side, we have about the founding members. The founding members of the Big Walnut Country Club: Nimrod Allen, John Bowles, Dr. Elijah Calloway, Leroy Godman, Charles Jones, Dr. William Method, Dr. Milton Tribbett, and Dr. William Woodland were prominent attorneys, dentists, doctors, executives, and social workers in the 1920s Columbus. In addition to their work with the club, Method and Tribbett established Alpha Hospital in the Columbus neighborhood of Bronzeville, where black doctors could practice medicine. Allen, Calloway, Method, and Tribbett were active in forming the Businessmen Club at the Spring Street YMCA. Allen founded the Columbus Urban League and the community leadership and service organization Frontiers of America. In 2015, a state commission posthumously inducted Nimrod Booker Allen into the Ohio Civil Rights Hall of Fame. There we go. First park here in Gahanna. We have one more in Gahanna, and then we'll be off to the last one. So 2 more left. All right, we are here to our second to last Ohio historical marker here in the east side of Franklin County. We're at Taylor Station Road and Havens Corner Road in Gahanna, where we're going to find historical marker number 12925, a prosperous Jefferson Township farm, placed here in 2021. Isaac Souter, in 1835, at the age of 26, purchased 225 acres in Jefferson Township for $674. Jefferson Township is the eastern portion of Franklin County, was part of the U.S. military lands that offered fertile farmland and abundant water. Souter's farm prospered, and he built a house there in 1837 using bricks made on site and creating upon excavating kneaded clay. He and his wife, Anna Maria Elizabeth Meinhardt, raised 4 children there. Over time, Souter sold portions of his land to other family members who also farmed successfully. In 1874, he built a sawmill that became one of 2 permanent mills in the township. The Souter house and farm remained in the family for 114 years as visible reminders of the rich agricultural and rural heritage of early Jefferson Township. Thinking maybe this house here might be one of those old houses. Let's look at the other side. All right. The I House architecture of the Souter House. The Souter House, demolished in 2020, was an excellent example of the early 19th century I House, a vernacular architectural style popular in Ohio from 1830 to 1890. The style, named by cultural geographer Fred Kniffen in 1936, featured a symmetrical facade, typically with 4 windows on the first floor and 5 on the second. I houses had 2 stories, a gabled roof, a center hall, 2 rooms per floor, end chimneys, and were 1 room deep. Some I houses were built with the original rear wings. Others added them later. While most were not built in popular architectural styles, there are examples of Federal, Greek Revival, Gothic Revival, and Victorian era I house designs. The Souter House had the added feature of a recessed second floor porch, which added an elegant touch to its overall appearance. And we can see here the Souter House must have sit right where these new homes are. From Romanelli and Hughes. I think that's who built this neighborhood. Cool, let's go to our final historical marker out in Reynoldsburg. All right, we are here at the Livingston House in Reynoldsburg, right off of Graham Road. We're going to find the next Ohio historical marker, but also a additional historical marker from the Franklin County Historical Society. And we're going to start with that one. This is Reynoldsburg, birthplace of the tomato. This plaque, or this historical marker, was placed in October of 1965, so 60 years ago. Alexander W. Livingston, plant breeder, horticulturist, and seed merchant who became internationally known through his development of the tomato, was born October 14, 1821. The son of John and Mary Graham Livingston, the first known variety of the tomato was the Paragon, produced by Livingston by selection and crossing in a field of many varieties on his Buckeye farm located at 1792 Graham Road. City of Reynoldsburg, Franklin County, Ohio. Livingston died November 11th, 1898, and is buried in Green Lawn Cemetery in Columbus, Ohio. So here's a picture of him here. See if on the other side it's the same. It is the same. So I'm going to get a picture of this and then we'll continue to the Ohio historical marker. Alrighty, so this is a nice little park here. I believe the house is open for tours at different times of the year. We won't be doing that today, but that is something. This is right near 256 in Reynoldsburg, where it, like 70 where Pickerington and Reynoldsburg meet. It's beautiful stonework here. Pine trees smell absolutely amazing. There's some, old farm equipment here towards the entrance. But here we have historical marker number 5925, Livingston House. The Livingston House was the home of Alexander Livingston. In 1864 to 65, Nathan Orcutt, cabinet maker, built Livingston's house with slate roof, clapboard siding, ash floors, 21 windows and 4 doors, central fireplace, 7 bedrooms, 2 kitchens, pantry, parlor, and living room. Outbuildings included a milk house and a long work shed. Blue freestone for the foundation was locally cut from William Forrester's quarry. Sawed stone formed the summer, kitchen, and wash house floor and the basement walls. The woodwork was hand carved, and the entire house had a furniture finish. Livingston and his family lived here until 1880. Alexander Livingston improved and stabilized the wild tomato for commercial use, producing disease-resistant tomatoes suitable for every taste, soil, and climate. Beginning in 1870 with the Red Paragon, he perfected 14 or more new stable varieties, including his purple Acme and yellow Golden Queen. Livingston's true blue seeds were nationally recognized as highest quality. Many Reynoldsburg residents worked here at the 136-acre A.W. Livingston Buckeye Seed Gardens, or grew seed tomatoes for Livingston on their own land. Today, American tomato farmers earn more than $1.5 billion annually. So here we got it, the birthplace of the tomato. Let's check out this old wagon, and we'll walk down the hill to see the backside of the house. All right, so here's an old wagon. Not sure what kind of use we have here. Can make out Groveport, Ohio here. I'm not sure what this says. I think this is who built by, not sure. It's something and Son. But Groveport, Ohio. It's pretty cool. Definitely have seen the weather. This is sitting right outside the Livingston House. This is a nice little park where you can just walk around. Probably have to look up online the operation hours and whatnot of the Livingston House, but I'm sure that's a really great local history spot to visit whenever you're here. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here in Reynoldsburg at the Livingston House at our final marker for East Franklin County. Today we have gone to 8 different Ohio historical markers. We've seen a historical marker at Capital University, as well as a Franklin County historical marker. So thanks for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to make sure that we can continue our series here, going to all the Ohio historical markers here in the state. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.